I was telling my mom, like, Sephora call. And me and her were like, Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. I am Naomi, aka Mua Nai, and today this is a special video. So I'm going to be talking about how I got hired at Sephora. This has been highly requested. I always get messages on everyone asking me about Sephora. And I hope you guys enjoy this video. Make sure to subscribe, like, and comment. I actually had two other opportunities to work at Sephora, but my third one. So I guess you would say like third time the charm. I was back in high school, and basically I was telling my friend, I was like, I want to get into the cosmetic industry. I already knew that I had applied for college and I wanted to do makeup, and I had already started my beauty page, yeah, and I was like, oh, I want to go and apply to here, and there. And my friend was kind of a little bit like a Debbie Downer and was kind of like, oh, well, I don't really think you could work there because you don't have a lot of experience, which was true. I only had done volunteer work, which is why I was looking for a job in high school at the time, and it was very hard. Not a lot of places I would go and hand my resume and I wouldn't really hear anything back. After I talked to my friend, I even still went. I'm just really an independent thinker, and I think you shouldn't let people determine what you can do. So I decided to go to the Sephora that I'm actually currently working at, and I decided to ask for the manager. Always do that. And I said, you know, I want to work here. What do I have to do? I had my resumes in hand, and they were kind of just like, you know what, actually you could apply online. So that's the way they were doing it at the time. Some stores do accept, like if you had your resume, you just come in, speak to a manager, but most times now they're trying to do everything online. So they didn't say anything like, what's your experience, how old are you, nothing. They were just telling me like, apply online, that'd be great. And I was like, wow, you see, like, this is why you shouldn't always listen to people, because there wasn't any kind of certifications. After that, I actually ended up getting a job at Forever 21. But yeah, so at the time I got a job there and I was really happy. And I kind of pushed Sephora onto the side and I went into college now. So I'm in my first year of college. This is first semester. This is my second opportunity with Sephora. Basically, they were having hiring. And because I worked at Forever 21, at the mall I worked at, Sephora was literally 2 stores down from the Forever 21. So I had seen like a hiring sign, and I had even had like a friend of mine on social media who actually got hired at Sephora, and I kind of messaged them, you know, saying good for you, and they kind of said to me, oh, Naomi, why don't you apply to Sephora? And I was like, well, you know, I'm currently working at Forever 21, and I just didn't want to leave automatically because I had recently got the job, and I was probably like about 3 months I've been already working at the job. You always have to think strategically. You always have to think what is best for you. Never leave a job and then go for an interview and then that job might not work out. You can't just jump in between jobs like that. It was what it was. And you see, everything works out. Everything has a plan. God's always working, and I knew that I prayed about it and I really wanted the job. Fast forward to still in first year of college, but this is now second semester. Our teacher had told us that a hiring manager was going to come in. So not like a Sephora manager, like higher up. So basically she takes on students to gives them their resumes and gets them like into jobs, positions like Sephora. I was really like excited to hear what she had to say and come and visit us. Unfortunately for my class, she couldn't visit us because she wasn't coming to the college on the day that our class was going to be happening. So she met with the other group, but she didn't meet with my group. But for me, I had to actually do it through my teacher. Now, the good thing about my program is that they have job fairs, so if you can bring your resume if you're willing to get a job, or teachers will let us know about different places that are hiring, so like cosmetic-based jobs. This lady, I ended up emailing my teacher, sending my resume through her to the lady, something like that. So right after that, I did not hear anything, even within a week or anything, even within a month. So I had already assumed nothing happened. Fast forward like 4 months later, I'd say, then it was already exam time. Still by then, the teacher had never said anything about it. So I was like, oh, they must have just not wanted me there. They didn't think I was maybe good enough to work there. I don't know. You know, that's kind of negative thinking. Also, guys, don't really think negative of yourself. It was kind of bad on my part. Around after that, in May, kind of, I had a client because I do freelance makeup, and basically if you guys want to book with me, you can. I do like proms, graduations, anything that you have going on, make sure to contact me. Yeah, so I had gotten a call right after I did that. I was at Best Buy with my mom. I look at my phone, all of a sudden I see Sephora. Now obviously at first I was very confused. I was like, is this a prank call? And I decided to stare at my phone for like 5 seconds like a weirdo before opening it, and then they were like, oh, hello, can we speak with Naomi? And I'm like, this is she. And then they're like, oh, well, hi, nice to meet you, Naomi. We want you to come in on Monday. We want you to do a demo for us here at Sephora. You know, we want you to do interviews. Guys, I literally kind of blanked out a little bit in it because I was so excited, so confused all in one. I was just like, what is going on? Because like I said, it had been months that went by. There was no emails, nothing. So I just didn't think that I was even gonna be a candidate, at least to like see what I could do. And then I snapped back into it. I'm like, yeah, that'd be great. I didn't really hear everything she fully said. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna come Monday. And she's like, does that time work for you? And I'm like, yeah. Keep in mind, I do already have a job, but I was still excited. Me and my mom threw a little like happy little like celebration in Best Buy. It was kind of funny. I was telling my mom, like, Sephora call, Sephora call. And me and her were like, and so Monday comes around. I do my makeup all nicely, pretty, because I knew I was going to Sephora, so appearance is everything. You gotta look the part too. I did a nice little glittery eye. I think I might have a photo of it. And I wore my tunic, my CTM, so I got it from school. You guys, I've seen it because I wear it in some of my videos. I wore a black pant. I just went in and I said, hi, I'm Naomi and I'm looking for so-and-so, because she told me to ask for this person. And they're like, oh, hi Naomi, come with us. They told me to put my stuff in the back locker. I think I just brought my handbag, that was it. And they told me just to remember the pin, because you have to put a little pin for the locker. Took me back out, and then after I met the head senior artist for Sephora. So basically she does training, she does the whole makeup thing. So she was like, okay, so Naomi, today you're gonna be doing a 20-minute makeup demo, and we want you to do eyes. We want you to do a wing eyeliner, we want you to do smoky eyes, and we want you to communicate with the client. Now obviously this wasn't a real client, it was actually an employee at Sephora, but I had to treat it like a client situation. Now this actually happening was really good. And the reason why I say this is because in my course, we practice stuff like this. We had to do a whole role play in like second semester. Apply the makeup, you explain what you're doing. So this is kind of like secondhand to me. I wasn't really as nervous as I would have been if I had never had any experience doing this. Plus I do freelance, so I wasn't that nervous. She got all the stuff for me, which was kind of, they were all like testers, which I didn't too really like, but whatever, I took it, and she gave me her brush belt, and she's like, okay, time started. Guys, when I tell you she was watching me, I mean it. Not like she was taking notes and kind of like back there. She was like, I could see her eyes from like right the corner of my eye. I can see her watching me. Plus, where I was applying the makeup on the employee, it was like right in the front of the big mirror where everyone's walking past. So everyone can see everything that's happening inside the store. And people are literally like this. Like, people were trying to see what's going on. And I just had to stay focused with the makeup, and as I knew I could, I did the wing liner. I was trying to speak with her. Sometimes I did stop a little bit, but I was speaking with her. I was trying to be comfortable. I'm like, oh, so I'm doing this right now to warm up your eyes, or this will make your eyes pop. Just conversation. You have to be really natural. And it was over with. And they're like, okay, thanks for coming, Naomi. And I was like, okay, bye. And I'm like, when am I going to hear from you next? And they're like, oh, we'll contact you. After that, I think I did get contacted again a little while later, and they were like, oh, we want you to come in, we want you to do an interview with you. But then what happened was, for a while, I didn't hear anything, so I decided to take it upon myself and call. Now, what had happened was the manager that I was supposed to meet with and had all my information, like my resumes and all that stuff, because I guess mine went through like online, they were off for 2 weeks, guys, 2 weeks, because of family emergency, which is understandable. Things like that do happen, but because of that, my whole like interview kind of thing and all my information got like pushed behind, which was kind of bad because I really wanted the job, and now since one person had my information, it has to be given to someone else so I can still get my interview. So I kept on calling. They told me to call back 2 weeks later to check up, and that's exactly what I did. I called back and I'm like, hey, I'd really like to have my interview if you guys are still considering me, da da da. And they're like, okay. And finally, someone, I did get a call, and they're like, can you come in on this day? We want to do an interview with you. And I was like, okay, great. And I came in, did my makeup again nicely, make sure I dressed professionally, I looked the part. Unfortunately, I didn't bring my resume, which was a mistake, because you're supposed to bring your resume with you every time. I just didn't know because I had already given my resume. I thought that would be okay. But the manager that I met with just let me know, like, next time, you know, bring resume. And I was like, okay, whatever. And we sat down. It wasn't even inside the Sephora. We actually sat down near like the Walmart. There's like a couple seats there. Just one manager. She was very straightforward. Her face was very serious the whole time, so I couldn't really even read her. Because usually you can tell when someone likes you. It was just very like, the whole time. And I'm like, okay. I just kept my attitude up, smiled along the way, answered the questions best of my abilities, asked me about my experience. And I had Forever 21 on there because I was working there at the time still. I had my volunteer experience on my resume, and I was telling her about my volunteer experience. And funny enough, she was quite fascinated by me working at Shoppers Drug Mart, and she asked me quite a few questions on that. So this is why I say to anybody, if you are applying to somewhere, even if you don't necessarily have work experience, but you have volunteer experience, that counts for something. Use it, make sure you put it on your resumes, and talk about it in interviews, because that is really important. Well, look at this. Now they're interested in just me volunteering. I did co-op in high school. I couldn't really tell if it went well or not. I kind of thought it didn't go well based on body language. And after that, I did get a call, and they just told me, you have the position, you're hired. And I was like, oh wow, okay. I was like, this is great. Now I was working for Forever 21. I was doing my own little business. I have freelance makeup artists. I already have my first 5 shifts of Sephora up on here. You can watch them. Once you get hired, then they tell you orientation dates. What was happening with mine, it was all on Dayforce, and they were telling me the times. I was also calling in to find out when I was supposed to come in, and the timer was all wrong, so I'd literally be showing up like an hour later for each orientation. It was so annoying. And I got hired with about 2 other students who were in my program. I was basically color consultant, who do you do the makeup on the floor. So if you see people like me, you apply makeup, foundation, stuff like that. And then there's our skincare girls, the whole skincare, if you need any help in that area. There's fragrance. I think hair care kind of falls in with the people who work in skincare, because I've never really seen anybody separately in hair care. And then we have people on cash, and then we have people who are in the back stock, so ops. They do all the shelves, getting products, stuff like that. Different positions in Sephora. You don't have to always think of makeup. You can do other things if you want to. So I had some questions that you guys wanted me to answer. So where do you apply? Basically, I always still recommend the whole resume walking around thing, just at least so you can get to see managers in case you speak to people. But they're always going to tell you mostly to apply online. I'm going to see if I can link it down below my description box. What position are there? So I just mentioned that. So there's the makeup, color, that's a color consultant. You have your skincare, you have cashiers, you have people in the back stock, you have people in fragrance. It really depends on what's your expertise and what you know a little bit more about, what you feel comfortable in. What knowledge do you need to be for a color consultant? That was so much. Well, when I applied, I was technically already in college, only my first year I had finished. But I would say they're definitely more focused on the retail and the selling side. And people are sometimes surprised by this, but they do want you to have at least makeup experience. If you're going to be applying makeup and talking about products, you should know things. How good are you at being a sales associate? How good are you at speaking with people? It's like Wolf of Wall Street when he says, sell me this pen. How can you do that? And the knowledge you have to have. I would say when I was asked in the interview, I do remember, I think I said I had 3 to 4 years of experience. And that was just me doing makeup on my own still, but like I was self-taught basically. And before I got into school, like college, I had no prior makeup experience. So I never had classes in high school, no workshops, nothing. But just make sure you have background knowledge about cosmetics and you've at least done things like doing makeup on someone else. That's important kind of knowledge to have. Interview in person, over the phone, and demo. Okay, so when I was talking to somebody else who had actually got hired, who's in my program as well, they had told me that they had to do a phone interview. And funny enough, because mine had gotten pushed back so much, they didn't have time for me to do at least like 5 interviews. So basically, I think for Sephora, you're supposed to do at least 4 to 5 interviews, something like that. And yeah, that sounds like a lot, but there are different managers, and I guess there's things that they want to know about you. I don't know. I only got interviewed by 1 manager, and I got to do my demo. So mine was pretty quick, the time being, because they were trying to hire everybody, and mine kept on getting pushed back. So they do phone interviews, and basically they're just calling you. And demos is basically when you go in, they ask you to apply makeup to a certain part of the face within a certain amount of time. If you are somebody who practices makeup a lot, or you're somebody who goes to school, that will be more easier for you. But if you're somebody who's not used to that, but you want to apply to the makeup position, you should at least be practicing how to do your makeup in an efficient time. If they tell you 20 minutes, it has to be done within the 20 minutes. The whole eye look neat and clean. Interview questions. Like I said, this happened a while back. I've been working at Sephora since last summer, so it hasn't even been, it's almost a year, but it's not a year yet. I don't know, it's a couple of months. Like about 8 months? Yeah. It was about like me, how I'm gonna do makeup, or about other positions I've had, so other jobs or volunteer work I've had. And they ask you kind of questions like, oh, when you were in a position like this, how did you respond to it? Or when do you feel like you had to be a leader? When were you able to help people like learn and train them? Questions like that, they're kind of trying to figure out what kind of person you are. Are you a team player? Are you an independent worker? They're trying to read you and see how much experience you have as well as your ability to work and listen and your ability to sell product.